Man, where do I even start? Well, I guess I should jump right in. Well, I have cancer and it sucks. So let's talk about it.
Urban Christian Veterans provides a safe place for Christian veterans of color to discuss the challenges you face in your daily lives. Being a person of color has its challenges. Being a Christian has its challenges. Being a veteran has its challenges. All of those factors being combined makes for a unique and sometimes difficult life experience that is seldom talked about in public forums. Thank you for tuning in to the Urban Christian Veterans Podcast. Here's your host, D. Allen Rose.
Thank you, Aaron, for that wonderful introduction. This is D. Allen Rose, and you are listening to the Urban Christian Veterans Podcast. So I have cancer, specifically prostate cancer. And I decided to talk about this because since I've been diagnosed and I've shared this with others, I discovered that so many men that I know have had it, they've gone through it, they've dealt with it, and I had no idea. And I asked a few of the guys, I was like, why didn't you say anything? And I got several answers, but all of the answers seem to be rooted in embarrassment. And I get it, right? Like, we guys, we don't like to talk about issues in our nether regions. And I get it. Especially after going through the procedures and scans that I have over the last few months. I get it. Kind of embarrassing. But I'm going to talk about it. And I'm going to talk about it in the hopes that it helps others out there looking for information. Now understand, I am not an expert, but maybe my experiences can help. So here's how I got here. A little over a year ago, January 2023, I got this lab result, and it indicated that I had elevated PSA levels. Now, for those who don't know, PSA stands for prostate specific antigen, PSA. My level was a 5.4, which is high, and I'm told anything above a 4 is cause for concern. At the time, my doctor says it could have been a fluke. So she says, let's do it again in about 60 days. 60 days later, my PSA level was like an 8 point something. And my doctor immediately put in a referral for a urologist. And at that time, now it's about April. And though it was immediate, the referral was immediate. This is the VA that we're talking about. Yes, I am a 100% disabled veteran, and I am at the VA dealing with this. And if you know anything about the VA, appointments can take a while. So I met with the urologist in like June, and I asked the doctors, okay, well, what do the numbers mean? And he says, well, I'm going to be honest with you. Now, first of all, anytime a doctor starts his answer with, well, I'm going to be honest with you, it's probably not a good thing. So he says, well, I'm going to be honest with you. It's either an infection or cancer. And he orders this biopsy. Unfortunately, the biopsy can't be done until November because everything is so far behind. And the reason it's so far behind is because of COVID, right? So for COVID, everything was shut down for about 2 years. So all of these folks that needed stuff done, they were all in a holding pattern. So now they're just now trying to catch back up. So my stuff was delayed. I couldn't get in until November. So I'm in a situation where on the one hand, there's this concern and a sense of urgency because your numbers are increasing so rapidly. On the other hand, you have to wait about 5 months. And at the same time, I'm dealing with these old raggedy symptoms. Like I lost 30 pounds in a little under a year. I'm exhausted all the time, constant feeling of nausea. I got this pain, dizziness. And if I were to describe it, it's like having the flu without the cold symptoms, right? Like no sneezing or coughing and runny nose and none of that. I'm just like weak and dizzy, uh, achy, and I just feel bad. And it's difficult for me, like it's uncomfortable for me to sit for a long time, but then it's also difficult for me to stand for a long time. So I'm like asking the doctors, what can be done about the symptoms in the meantime until we get to the whole diagnosis thing. The bottom line is nobody wants to treat anything until there is an official diagnosis, and I'm not going to get one until after the biopsy. So, okay, the appointment is set for November. Meanwhile, I go to my primary care physician with my private insurance, the insurance I have through my job. And I tell them what's going on with the VA. And I said, look, can we go ahead and do some labs real quick? Let's see what's going on with this. And it wasn't instant, right? I schedule the appointment. I do the labs. I get the results. It's a couple of weeks. This time my PSA level was a 10.4. Now I asked them if I could get the biopsy done sooner than November. They told me the same thing. Things are so far behind that it might be December until we can get to you. So keep your appointment with the VA and let's go from there. So I'm in like this holding pattern until November. So November comes along. Biopsy is done the Monday following Thanksgiving. Prior to the biopsy, though, they asked me to do another lab. Let's see where your PSA levels are. PSA levels came back at an 18 point something. So this thing is rapidly rising. Do the biopsy Monday following Thanksgiving. First week of December, results come back from the biopsy. Diagnosis, prostate cancer. And on top of that, it is aggressive. There's this PSA numbers, but then the biopsy comes back and then there's this other number called the Gleason score. And my Gleason score was an 8, which is high. So it's an aggressive form of prostate cancer. So since then, I've had a PET scan. I've had an MRI. I've met with a urologist, radiation oncologist, medical oncologist, and each of them offered like different treatment options. And I elected to go with external beam radiation and what they call brachytherapy or seed implants. And my treatment starts next week. And that's been done. All of this that I'm talking about has been done since December. So in my next episode, I'm going to talk about the procedures that I've gone through, starting with the biopsy, because each one of them was an adventure. So they're going to need a separate episode because I'm going to get into it and I'm going to put it out there. It wasn't fun. I'm going to just put it out there in the hopes, again, that it may help somebody. And in upcoming episodes, I'm going to talk about the radiation treatments. And I'll let you know how those go, like how it affects me and that sort of thing. So I'm going to be talking about all these things in these upcoming episodes. And I'll just say that you may want to share this with someone who you think it could help. If they're either going through the same thing, they have questions, they possibly go through it. My thing is, I want to put the word out. Guys, listen, go get yourself checked out. And we talk about that all the time. We don't like to go to the doctor. You need to go to get yourself checked out. Luckily, I was able to catch this thing early. So get yourself checked out and listen in. I'm going to tell you how my adventure goes, how these treatments go, the effect it has on me, and so on and so forth. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. So until next time, be safe, take care, and we'll talk again soon.